Welcome to Sandbox8.com. Today we're reviewing the Nike Victory Red forged split cavity irons. Now, the Victory Red cavity irons are something that's been in development for actually 3 years now. And it's a part of an evolutionary process with Nike Golf's engineers. Now what they did is they wanted to find out exactly what technology and equipment that their players needed, especially like Tiger Woods and Trevor Immelman, that they needed to achieve victory on Sundays. Now, over this 3-year process, they're actually able to take all their feedback from these great players and put them into this whole new line of Victory Red irons. And today we're going to be talking about the split cavity version, which are basically aimed at like a better player or tour caliber player. So one of the core features of the Victory Red split cavity back is the dual cavity back design. Now I mentioned before it's a forged club. So it's forged from a 1025 forged carbon steel. And if you notice, there's actually a really cool brushed finish with a polished silver finish on it, which gives it a nice understated look, and it also helps with the wear and tear. Now, if we look at the cavity back, you'll notice that there's a pocket right here where it gives you that muscle back, and that's going to give you forgiveness on your shots. Now, if you ever hit a true blade, a forged club for instance, you know that it can be very difficult to get the ball airborne if you don't hit the ball in the sweet spot. And this cavity back is going to allow you to give you some forgiveness on those off-center hits. Alright, let's talk about the CNC milled face of the Nike Victory Red split forged cavity back irons. Now, this face, as I mentioned, is CNC milled. Now, what's important about that is that it's going to give you a nice ball compression, and it's going to also help with the ball getting up in the air. Now, when I had mentioned earlier that there's a cavity, since there's a cavity back, the center of gravity is actually lowered right behind the sweet spot right here, and it's slightly wider than what you would get on a true blade. So you're going to get that ball up in the air real easily, even if you hit off center. And that's something I've discovered myself while I was testing these clubs out. I know, like anybody else, hitting a forged club, if you don't hit it on that spot, it's kind of difficult to get the ball airborne. The other thing that you can't really see is that if the club is slightly offset. That also helps with getting that ball airborne as well, and on those not so perfect swings. Let's talk about the top line of the Victory Red split cavity back irons. You notice it's extremely thin. You don't even see the cavity back in the profile at address, which makes it look exactly like a blade or a player's iron. And this is only slightly thicker of a top line than the TW blades, the ones that Tiger Woods will be using, which is actually really nice. Other feature of the Victory Reds is actually its cambered sole. Now, the cambered sole on this is actually designed for the aggressive angle attack that the better player is going to have when using it, or like the Tour Pro, for instance. Another really great feature of the Victory Red split cavity back irons is actually the custom Eaton grip that they have. Now, this Victory Red grip is actually dual compounded. In other words, it's softer at the top of the grip, so you get more feel and control, and a little bit firmer at the bottom. And you notice it's a different texture. And actually, this is actually kind of nice. It's thin feeling, but it's not too thin. And you actually have some really great feeling in your left hand and your right hand. So controlling the club with this is actually really nice. I actually like this grip a lot. To round that out is actually, if you can get a shot of this, is a True Temper Dynamic Gold shaft. And what this is going to give you is going to help you with that low to mid penetrating ball flight you're going to get. Let's talk about the performance of the VR split cavity back irons. Now, this club is actually extremely forgiving. Even though it's forged, it actually still maintains that real good feel that you get when you press the ball on its sweet spot that you do with a true blade. And I actually really enjoyed that because, you know, I'm not the best golfer in the world, but I got the forgiveness of the cavity back in here with the true look and feel of a blade. And I actually really, really like that. And I think even a mid-handicapper could really take advantage of the technology in the VR split cavities. Another real nice thing about it is also the fact that the way they design the sole, it doesn't dig into the turf, and which is also an added benefit. The last thing you want is, you know, when you think split cavity, oh, it's going to have a super wide sole, and that's going to be, you know, could sometimes dig in, but it doesn't. It actually glides really nicely for the better player, and it does in great turf interaction. I like the fact that they included a True Temper Dynamic Gold shaft. It's really helpful for that nice mid-penetrating ball flight that I did experience while using this. And I really like the Eaton grips a lot, actually. You know, I thought that's kind of it might not be for everybody, but I like the fact that it's softer on top for your left hand and a little bit firmer on the bottom. It gave me a lot of good feel in my hands, and you could, you know, really felt like you got control. Oh, and another thing is that this club is actually extremely workable. Even though it's a split cavity, you think that, oh, it's not going to have a lot of workability, but you can actually work the ball with it. And also the sweet spot is a lot wider than you would if it was a true blade. So you can be, you know, not so perfect on those hits. So it doesn't mean you can get careless and sloppy. It just means that you can just be you can be a little off center on those hits and you're going to get a nice medium high trajectory shot. So overall, I'm really pleased with these clubs. The only thing that I think that could be a drawback is actually the price tag. For $9.99 for a 3-through pitching wedge set in this economy right now, some people might have a problem buying a set of these clubs. But they're really a good investment, and I think they're definitely worth it. Hell, you know, golf is a hard game as it is. Why make it harder by playing blades when you can play a split cavity back like the Nike VRs, Reds here? They're phenomenal. There's a reason Trevor Immelman's using them this season on the PGA. To read the rest of the review, visit sandbox8.com.